All right, y'all. This real estate world is heating up. The battles are crazy out there in Chicagoland. We talked about in my last video how they have dumped Zillow in their major MLS, bringing Zillow's listing count in one day from over 5,200 down to 1,400. Well, Nashville's next. And in fact, anybody that's serviced by Realtracs on the 1st will no longer be syndicating to Zillow unless the brokers choose to. There is the option for brokers. I assume that not many, if any, will. Just following suit with what happened at Chicago, because this battle is heated and Zillow's wrong. That's just that simple. They're in a battle right now with Compass, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on what it is and how it impacts you. But right now, let's just talk about what's happening on the 1st. Realtracs is no longer syndicating, which means feeding their listings to Zillow as soon as they're listed, or at all for that matter, unless a broker individually decides to allow that. But again, following suit with what's happening in Chicago, I doubt that's going to happen because there's other options for you consumers. You don't need Zillow. And I'm giving you a heads up on the 1st. Zillow's not going to have any listings. They're going to lose them all, and therefore Zillow is going to be useless unless they change their stance, which is what I think is going to happen ultimately. But it may not happen by the 1st. So for the consumers, on the 1st of June, Zillow is no longer useful to you. They're not going to have the listings. You're going to have to go to a different site. Refiner Realty, at wherever your personal realtor is, their website, their company website, realtor.com, homes.com, all those big sites, they're still going to have all the listings. Just Zillow and Trulia, because they're owned by Zillow, will lose their listing. So you're not going to be able to look there. Here's my thing. I would suggest using your realtor's personal website, because that's going to keep you with that realtor. Those other websites sell your data to other realtors. Every time you click a button, they sell it to 5 to 7 different realtors who are going to bug the heck out of you until you answer your phone, and then they're going to bug you. They're not even going to listen to you when you say, I have a realtor. They're going to keep calling you and texting you and bugging you. That's because that website sold your data to that realtor, and you might get a great realtor. It's a possibility. Like, it is a Rolodex, right? And the great realtors out there make a lot of money, and then they spend a lot to get on the top of Zillow. But the likelihood of that is not a great percentage, because a ton of realtors pay Zillow, and a lot of them have no experience and no training. So that's your potential of getting a turd when you hope for a diamond. I always think I would suggest, as somebody in the real estate industry and somebody that's owned 8 houses before they got into the real estate industry, I always went and met with a couple different realtors and chose the one that fit me best. And I fired a couple realtors in my pre-real estate career. And I think that's something you should consider too, if they don't do what you expect them to do. You deserve good service in this real estate industry. But the big news is, for consumers, June 1st, no more Zillow, unless they change their stance, and I'll update you if that does happen. But for right now, no more Zillow. They won't have the listings on June 1st. Hey, you realtors, that's big news to you. You better get on that horn like today and talk about that contract you have with them. Because if they don't have any listings, they got no leads, and you're paying for nothing. And I know some of you have 1 year, 3 year, 7 year, whatever your contract is. You better get on it. They better at least pause that until they figure out their ish here, right? So big news for both consumers and realtors there. Nobody that I know of in my company pays for Zillow leads, so we don't have to worry about that. But anyways, so let's talk about what it is. What is this battle between Compass and Zillow? Well, Compass has this thing called exclusive listings. I say exclusive listings because it's a fancy word for saying I don't share your listing with all the people, which I don't understand. I like economics. Economics 101 is pretty basic supply demand. The lower the supply, the higher the demand when it's in front of the most amount of people that is possible. And then you increase the value, right? You take away the people factor, and I don't care what they tell you, there's no way it can increase the value of your home. Now, that doesn't mean there's not a reason to sell a house to an individual that you know, right? Like a lot of consumers, over my years, I've sold so many houses for people that have called me and said, "Hey, I want to sell it to Sally Ann down the street. I'm good friends with them, but I just want a realtor to help me." In that case, like nobody can force you to market it. But I don't know why, if you're going to market it, you wouldn't market to all the people. It just doesn't make sense to me. You're never going to make more money that way. It's just a way for a brokerage to be able to claim they have the most listings, because they actually will, but it's only because the few people that chose to take a bad deal did. And who cares? Like, it's not going to help you sell your house. So, but because they do that, Zillow has decided that any of those listings that don't go to them immediately, they don't take or accept at all. Meaning that if you did choose to do an exclusive listing, we're going to now not ever be on Zillow. And I think Zillow made a bad call there. Personally, they're trying to like show strength, and Chicagoland showed them they got no strength. Nashville's about to show them that they got no strength. And this, our Realtracs MLS goes across this state and into other states. That's a lot of listings that Zillow's losing by the first. And I'm positive that other brokers across the country are getting these same emails by their MLS, and Zillow's going to have to change their mind. Like, there's no reason for Zillow to not accept those listings. The consumer can choose to do this, and a brokerage can choose to do this. For me, at Refiner Realty, as the owner and broker, I actually love that Compass does this, because we don't, and I think that gives us a competitive advantage for our consumers. We'll still sell the house to your neighbor. Like, you don't have to list it on MLS if you don't want to. You never have to do that. But as far as like an exclusive listing, like, there's just really no such thing. It's just a fancy word for saying we're not going to share it with everybody. And Zillow's trying to fight it. They're going to lose. I think they'll change their tune, and I'll let you know as soon as they do. But this is the news that's out there. It's big news. It's industry changing stuff right now. Zillow is losing their foothold on the industry. And I really want to know, both realtors and consumers, what do you think? Give me the thoughts down here, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.